podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Now entering the PNRNetworks arena, coming down the aisle from Revere, Massachusetts, weighing in at absolutely none of your business. It's the Mistress of Mayhem, the Queen of Quips. It's time for Ring Around the Rosie with your hostess, Kim Brown.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. I am your host, Kim Brown, coming to you on the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November, although that holiday is celebrated in Great Britain, where I think it is now the 6th. Ow. Time differences hurt. Or close to the next day anyway. I don't know how it works. So, I hope everybody's week is going pretty good so far. It's been kind of wacky up here in Massachusetts. They're actually using the S word for the end of the week. Sorry, Chuck Taylor, not that S word. No, they're talking snow. They're saying we might get snow and rain toward the end of the week, and people are freaking the fuck out. Everyone's like losing their shit. They're like, no, it's too early for snow, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, it's November, dumbass. You know, I'm sorry. We've had times when it was before Halloween it snowed. I mean, you know, it's fucking New England. Anything in New England after Labor Day, fucking all bets are off, man. You know, it might snow purple frogs. Who knows? Obviously we have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm going to be kind of bouncing all over the place. The obvious thing that we need to talk about and just, you know, really get into it is Crown Jewel, WWE Crown Jewel, which was held last week on the 31st of October in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I probably said that completely wrong. From what I heard, the show was all right. You know, there were some things about it that were not great. There were some things about it that were pretty good. Obviously, the big, huge, enormous thing that needs to get talked about is the fact that they actually had a women's match on the show. It was last minute kind of a deal. Natalya went against Lacey Evans and beat her, and Lacey submitted in a sharpshooter, I believe. And both women were wearing long, large T-shirts over their wrestling gear because reasons. It's another country. You have to respect the way they do things. You know, when in Rome, the whole thing. Obviously, this is a big deal. And I can completely understand why both Natalya and Lacey were emotional about this. It's a huge deal, and both of those ladies have every reason to be proud of the fact that they were part of the very first women's wrestling match, you know, in Saudi Arabia, and mad kudos to them, you know. I did hear there were a couple of incidents in the crowd where there were things thrown at them. I haven't seen any footage of the show because I just refuse. I don't want to say anything that's going to come off like I'm just going to say it. I don't want to come off as saying anything that's going to sound racist because I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying something bad about the Saudi people, because from what I've seen, the people of Saudi Arabia are really cool people. There's just going to be some bad apples in there every once in a while, and people shouldn't throw things at anybody. You know, that's just my own opinion for what it's worth. pretty standard card for the most part. Mostly, obviously the big title change that was the fact that the Fiend Bray Wyatt actually beat Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Okay. I was a little bit like, all right. The Tyson Fury Braun Strowman match, that was a count out. That sucks. Humberto Carrillo won the 20-man battle royal, beating Eric Rowan, and they're obviously pushing Carrillo really hard. Brock Lesnar, in his match against Cain Velasquez, wound up winning over Velasquez. I've made my opinion of Brock Lesnar extremely clear, and it's not going to change anytime soon. Especially now all of a sudden he's like, well, Brock go to Raw. Brock won't be on Raw. Brock do what Brock want because Brock a big dick. It's fuck off. It's like, for crying out loud, I am so fucking sick of this guy. I seriously, honest to blog am. I am not kidding. The tag team turmoil match wound up being won by the OC, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. So they are now the best in the world, tag team wise. Mansoor beat Cesaro. That was obviously, Mansoor was very over with the crowd because home territory. AJ Styles, the United States champion, went against Humberto Carrillo and wound up winning. And Team Hogan, which was made up of Roman Reigns, Rusev, Ricochet, Shorty G, and Ali, with Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart in their corner, beat the team of Team Flair, which was Randy Orton, King Baron Corbin, sorry, threw up in my mouth a little, Bobby Lashley, Shinsuke Nakamura, why are you still working there? And Drew McIntyre, same thing, who were Ric Flair's team. Okay, so now that's all out of the way. Let's talk about what y'all really want to talk about. The fact that a whole bunch of people, when it was time to go home, a whole bunch of people, 175 of them to be exact, wound up not being able to leave. Now, this is according to mechanical issues. Dr. Evil quotes. Am I saying they were something else? No. Because they're saying it's mechanical issues and I wasn't there, so I can't say that it may have been mechanical issues. I wouldn't know if they were, because unless something's on fire, I'm not going to be the first one to go, well, that shouldn't be there and that bolt needs to be tightened and all that stuff like that, because I'm just not a very technical person. I don't do well with machines. They don't like me. They smell fear. But my issue with this whole thing is that Vince McMahon had already left. Why Vince McMahon couldn't turn the fuck around and go back and be like, you need to find another way to get my people back. Seriously. What the fuck? You don't leave your people behind. I'm sorry. That's just not right. That's not right. And there's no other way to put this. I mean, seriously, how does that look? How would that look if you had a bunch of people, if you worked for a business and you were overseas in a country where you don't speak the language and you don't really feel very safe and you might feel like you're possibly in danger, maybe? And your boss just books and then expects you to come to work, when you get back from wherever. I'm sorry. I would be looking for a new fucking job, because I would think that would tell me that my boss does not give a flying fuck about what happens to me. This brings up so much stuff. Now, there's been a lot of speculation on a lot of other websites that have a lot of sources and all that stuff like that about what really happened. And it's been all over the interwebs. And you all can go find all the places where they say, well, what really happened, the truth. We know. No, we know. We know more than you. We know the truth more than you. We're truthier than you. Blah, 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 blah. All I got is me, my darling husband who puts up with my shit, and my purse duck, Fred. Yes, I do have a rubber duck. He lives in my purse. His name is Fred, and he is awesome. So there's just the three of us. And so I don't have sources and all that other shit. I just think it's extremely odd when you start hearing about money that wasn't paid and this didn't happen and that didn't happen and the live feed got cut and so on, so forth, and etc. And then all of a sudden a whole bunch of people can't leave a country on the other side of the world. That just seems a little odd to me. Now, I may have seen way too many, spy movies, and I may have read way too many mysteries for my own good that I start seeing, problems where there aren't any, etc. and so forth. But it seems a bit odd. It smells of unrefrigerated fish, put it that way. So, thankfully, everybody made it back safely. So that's a good thing. And SmackDown actually, for the first time in a long time, SmackDown was actually interesting. So I'm kind of like, so we should have people stuck in other parts of the world, all the time, I guess. I don't know. But that brings us to this whole Survivor Series build-up. Now we've got Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. Ooh, and we've got people invading from other shows. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. Do y'all think we're fucking stupid? You all work for the fucking same company. I mean, fucking really? Now, I know some people out there are going to go, but Kim, everybody knew that the guys in the NWO really worked for WCW when the whole NWO invasion angle started, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we did know that. And there were some of us back then, you can't see me, but I'm totally raising my hand, that remember thinking back then, this is stupid. We all know they work for WCW. This is dumb. I'm sorry. I just cannot find it within myself to get excited about this. I just can't. I love watching good competition and stuff like that. But I just don't give a fuck about this whole us versus them because you all work for the same fucking people. It's stupid. Also, I would like to shout out to Renee Young. Hopefully Renee is okay because while on SmackDown doing commentary duties on SmackDown, Renee got a kick in the face when the NXT women beat up a bunch of WWE SmackDown wrestlers and tossed one of them over the announce table. You nasty. And I'd also like to bring up, here we are in November, and the WWE has managed to do exactly, I'm looking back over the year, as it's that time of year where people kind of look back, because we're almost towards the end of the year. My gosh, how is that possible? And you look back at stuff that happened this year, and I'm sitting here and I'm going, well, let's see. They turned AJ Styles heel, which I said don't do. They turned Shane heel, which I hope they wouldn't do. They turned Bayley heel, which is fucking pointless. And you turned Finn Balor heel. Thanks a fucking lot, WWE. Thank you so fucking much. I mean, it's bad enough I didn't get to see the Demon anymore because that was hot. Don't judge. Woman needs. So, I know that, there's going to be some great stuff happening at Survivor Series and great matches between people, but this whole, Raw versus SmackDown, now Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, I don't care. It's stupid. That would be like if you worked if you worked at Toys R Us, and, you know what? Can't use that. Toys R Us went out of business. Give me 2 shakes. Let me think of someplace. Okay. If you worked at Target and every day you had the jewelry department get in fist fights with the toy department, and all of a sudden the people from electronics do a run-in. Y'all work for Target. Knock it the fuck off. It's stupid. It's dumb. I don't get it. And now you've got Seth Rollins out there, and Seth, please, seriously, don't take this wrong. It's going to sound a lot like I'm shitting on you, which seems to be everybody's favorite sport nowadays, beat up on Seth Rollins because nobody wants to go after Roman Reigns anymore because Roman is a cancer survivor and it makes you look like a complete fucknut. Not that you weren't fucknuts anyway for going after Roman beforehand because you were just a bunch of jealous motherfuckers. But the whole thing is, now everybody's jumping on Seth's case. Everybody's all like, oh, Seth Rollins is boring now, blah, 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 fuck off. I'm sorry. Now they've got this whole thing where Triple H is basically like, well, come to NXT because you lack direction, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, why can't he just have a feud with The Fiend? Why can't they just have a feud over the belt? Why don't we have long feuds anymore? I mean, seriously. And I realize, okay, this is going to come off, oh gosh, I hate this. Oh, I hate myself so much right now. This is going to come off like one of those, hey, you kids, get off my lawn moments, and also one of those back in my day, blah, blah, blah moments. I'm sorry. I remember watching wrestling when I was a younger person and just getting into wrestling as a teenager because I was young and horny. Just leaving it out there on the honesty. But I remember being a wrestling fan and being very, an early wrestling fan, and seeing feuds that would go on for months and months and months, and they never got boring to me. And I remember hearing people talk about other feuds that had gone on for a long time, and they had a genuine feeling like these people wanted to straight up murder each other. People like, this thinking back to, I'm trying to think, like the feud between Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer, the feuds between the Von Erichs and the Fabulous Freebirds, Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard, Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff. Yeah, all these amazing feuds that just seemed to have more, I'll even go back 20 years. Oh gosh. A little more than 20 years, I should say. But look at ECW. I mean, you honest to goodness believed that the Sandman and Raven and and Tommy Dreamer and Raven, that if they had half the chance, they would beat each other to a bloody pulp, and did more than once. You felt like that was real between those people. It was the same stuff that wrestling is now. Well, not in ECW, because that was ECW, and that's a genie they're never going to be able to get back. That was a product of its time, and I don't think it's ever coming back. More's the pity. But, it felt like there was more on the line. And I don't know. I mean, do other people feel that way? Is that just me? Am I being like a bitter wrestling fan? Crap. Oh, I hope not. I don't know. It just seems that way to me. I don't know. Another thing that I definitely think, and I've seen people talk about this online, and I agree with them, and I've agreed with them for a long ass time about this. Wrestlers need to unionize. There needs to be a union for wrestlers. Because it is ridiculous that these people go out there and risk their lives and there's nobody there to catch them when they fall. This whole situation in Saudi Arabia, I mean, how big of a hint do you need that wrestlers need unions? When you listen to all the stories about wrestlers who got fired from companies when they got hurt and, they wound up, addicted to drugs and stuff like that because they needed something to take care of the pain and stuff like that. And they couldn't, be right again because they couldn't work again and stuff like that. Wrestlers need somehow to form a union and actually have it be something that works for them, which is what unions are supposed to do. And I know some people out there are going, well, great, smartass. How do you propose that happens? And I gotta be honest, I have no fucking idea. No fucking clue. But somebody involved with wrestling has to be smart enough to figure this out. So somebody's gotta get on that. Somebody's gotta protect these guys. And gals as well. Over the weekend, we were lucky enough to catch a show on our cable channel because they were running this pay-per-view. We were like, well, hey, let's go for it. The Major League Wrestling promotion ran Saturday Night Super Fight, which is not the easiest thing to say in the world, but I got it out. On November 2nd, it was from Cicero, Illinois, at the Cicero Stadium, which I'm sure is a very nice place. I have no idea. Never been there. With the card including some people that I did know, most people that I didn't know, but now I want to know. I know that didn't make much sense to me either. The pre-show was Savio Vega versus Leo Bryan, with Leo Bryan coming out on top, and Gino Medina going against Airwolf, with Gino winning. And I'm sorry, Airwolf, and he has the theme, which I was like this kind of synthesizer version of the theme from Airwolf. I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody actually remembers this show besides me. Oh my gosh, I'm completely freaked out right now. Also on the pre-show was El Hijo de L.A. Park, which for those of you who flunked out of Spanish, which I didn't, although I'm terrible at it, and I'll be honest, that would translate to the son of L.A. Park. He went against Zenshi and won his match. And Contra Unit, okay, that's tacky, y'all. Not for nothing, but my gosh, that is just tacky as hell. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just can't. Contra Unit going, which is the team of Simon Gotch and Ikiro Kwan, going against, it was the three-way dance, Dominic Guarini and Douglas James and the Spirit Squad. Oh, that was a name I never thought I'd hear again, or wanted to. And the winner of that match was Contra Unit. So, the beginning of the show was, difficult. It's difficult to talk about this and not get emotional. Oh my gosh. Give me a minute. It was a Texas Tornado match for the Major League Wrestling World Tag Team Championship. The champions, the Dynasty, which are Richard Holiday and Maxwell J. Friedman. I'm like, oh, Odin's beard. I cannot get away from this guy. Shit. We're going against Marshall and Ross Von Erich. Marshall and Ross are the sons of Kevin Von Erich. And, I gotta be honest. I'm gonna come right out and say it. I got emotional. I got really emotional watching this. Marshall and Ross, gosh darn, they're something. They are really, really something special. Their dad's gonna be wicked proud of them. I mean, seriously, and even more proud that they managed to beat the other two twonks and are now the World Tag Team Champions for Major League Wrestling. So congratulations to Marshall and Eric and Marshall and Ross. It's so cool to say the name Von Erich again and not be like, have to say it in a sad way. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get emotional again. I'm cool. Following that was a 6-man tag team match with the team of Injustice. Was that a comic? Or a video game that's part of a comic or something? Anyway, the team of Jordan Oliver, Cotto Brazil, and Myron Reed, going against Gringo Loco. I knew I was going to mess that up. I'm sorry, Gringo. Puma King and Septimo Dragon. And Septimo, that means 7th in Spanish, just so you know. And the winners of the match were Injustice. Following that was the singles match for the Major League Wrestling World Middleweight Championship with the champion Teddy Hart, who came out to the ring with a cat, his cat, one of his cats, because I guess he breeds cats. Neat. I didn't know he did that. Going against Austin Aries. They showed a video package earlier on where Austin Aries had this very full beard, and I was like, what? It really freaked me out. And, but he had shaved it down to the usual way I saw him by the time they did this actual match. And the winner, keeping his belt, was Teddy Hart. He also got to keep the cat, which was nice. Sorry. Singles match was next with Brian Pillman Jr. going against Low Key. It was kind of one of these, you know, I'm gonna beat the respect into you kind of matches. I have to say, watching Brian Pillman Jr. come out to the ring, my heart did a complete lurch, because I was an enormous fan of his father, as I'm sure a lot of us were. And, it's spooky how much he looks like his dad. It's spooky. And he's as good a wrestler as his dad was. And, match was won by Low Key, who actually offered his hand afterwards. And, you know, it was all kind of, you know, like, I respect you, you know, we're the opponent kind of a deal. And that was very nice. I was like, he's going to kick him, isn't he? Oh, no, wait, he didn't. That was nice. So, I mean, that was like, oh, that's great. You know, I was happy about that. The following match was, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk. I'm sorry, I keep laughing and I gotta stop. Filthy Tom Lawler, who is from Fall River, Massachusetts, so, yay, hometown state person, I guess, going against Tommy Thatcher. I'm like, Filthy Tom Lawler. I'm sorry. I realize that making fun of this person is probably not a smart idea because they could probably kick my butt. But I'm sorry, the name Filthy Tom Lawler, does that sound like a pirate? Or like an old-time highwayman kind of a name? Like someone that would rob coaches in medieval England or something? Sorry. I go off on tangents and I read too many romance novels. I'm sorry. Tom Lawler wound up picking up the win in that match. Following that was a Stairway to Hell match. Doesn't that sound appealing? And that was a 3-way dance between, Mance Warner going against Jimmy Havoc. That's a name I was like, oh great, so we know one of these people is certifiably insane. And Bestia 666, or Sace, as they were saying all night. Wow. Okay, yeah, this was bloody and violent and really awesome. I need help. I really need help. I'm sorry. And I'm not knocking the look, because I gotta say, he's intimidating looking as hell. That was a really bad choice of words, Cam. Bestia 666. I'm like, okay. that's a bear you probably don't want to poke, buddy. But, you know, it was a great match. It was super violent and completely insane and won eventually by Mance Warner. Following that was the National Openweight Championship match. Belt was on the line with Alexander Hammerstone, who is apparently a bit of a prick, going against Davey Boy Smith Jr., again, heart lurch, because Davey Boy his dad's got to be smiling down on him from Paradise because he's really, really something special. Unfortunately, Alexander kept his belt, which sucked. Following that was the no disqualification match for the MLW World Championship. This was a match that was contested between the champion Jacob Fatu, who is the son of one of the members of the very storied family. He is actually also the son of his dad is Sam Fatu, who had wrestled in the back when it was the WWF. He debuted as the Tonga Kid and was later called the Tama. He was part of the Islanders. He is part of the NOI family, which is, you know, great. And he was putting his belt on the line against L.A. Park, who was out there with his manageress, Selena De La Renta, who took a real nasty shot from L.A. Park at the end of the match. It was a mistake. He was diving at somebody else and wound up driving her through a table. I think I was supposed to feel bad about that, I guess, considering the way the announcers were carrying on. I didn't, but that's because I can be slightly sadistic on the odd occasion. Jacob Fatu kept his belt. Jacob Fatu is apparently part of this Contra faction, which is like this big heel faction, and I don't get the name. I think I'm like, wow, that's kind of edgy there, you guys. I'm okay, but you be you. You know, you do what you want to do. I gotta say, for my introduction to MLW, I enjoyed the heck out of this. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time watching it, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely would order another pay-per-view from them. Hopefully we'll get to see one. So, and also a big shout out to I have to bring this up because I do adore him. Marco Stunt, who is apparently being referred to now as Baby Saurus by AEW, because he's part of the whole Jurassic Express thing, and Luchasaurus gifted him with a mask. So now they referred to him on Twitter. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. They referred to him as Baby Saurus, and I'm sorry. I realize that Marco probably wants to slap me now, but that is so wicked fucking cute. It makes me want to throw up rainbows. It's just so fucking adorable, and it fits him so perfectly. AEW on tomorrow night on TNT. Definitely check it out because it's going to be awesome. And they have their pay-per-view this coming week, which definitely check that out too. And I definitely intend to. And I will probably talk about it next week. And that is going to do it from my show for another week, cats and kittens. And hopefully, if you like it, if you have any questions, comments, queries, complaints, chocolate chip cookie recipes, you want to tell me your dog had, kittens and your cat had puppies, whatever, you can talk to me on Twitter if you'd like at PlatinumRoseL at Twitter.com. You can also write to me at PlatinumRoseL at Yahoo.com if you choose to do that. And I hope you will check out all of the other shows that are part of our little island of misfit toys that are they're growing to be too many to mention because we're a cast of thousands. And we've talked about our patron circle coming up as well, and hopefully look into that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you would like to subscribe, it's going to be $5 a month. I mean, that's pretty cheap in the grand scheme of things, and hopefully it'll help us to give more to you guys and do more for the show, because we do this because we love it. We love all our shows, me and my husband, and he does all the hard work. I gotta say straight up, I just sit here in front of a mic and just say the first thing that pops into my head. Actually, no, I don't usually say the very first thing that pops into my head because that's probably something really, really dirty. But I say the second thing that pops into my head, but he's the one that does all the stuff on the computer and does all the stuff for the interwebs and does it all and is really, really good at it and it makes it look all professional and cool. So if you guys could definitely drop us, a coinage or just some support or whatever, that would be really, really great. So, and please like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. And so this is me signing off for the rest of the week, and I hope that everybody has a great week out there. Stay safe. If you're in the Northeast, stay warm, stay dry. And this is Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, wishing you a great rest of your week, and I'll see you around. Bye.
You have been listening to Ring Around the Rosie with Kim Brown, a production of PNRNetworks. Keep in touch with all things about the show at http://ringaroundtherosie.net. Ring Around the Rosie intro performed by Eric Lyon. Ring Around the Rosie theme by Digital Juice. Join Kim for a new Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie is copyright 2018 PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.